Do you think a player or an athlete should ever specialise in one sport?
This is a tough one because if you look at, like, I read a lot of biographies, autobiographies. If you look at people like Agassi, he absolutely loathed tennis. However, he was playing from, well, if you read the book, his dad straps a table tennis paddle to his hand when he's in his crib. So that's early specialization. That is vicarious parents really pushing and forcing um, something from their children. So I do think you do need an element of specialization. I don't think you need to go overboard in that aspect. However, if you want to get to the elite level, which you're looking at the elite circle, which is very very few, then that is where the specialism is. But I think you've also got to take a step back and then include the different aspects to what makes the individual. Um,
So it sounds to me like you're saying that at a very, very young age, kids should be trying everything. It should be
yeah,
throwing wood at the wall, see what sticks, um, and that would
exactly.
and then that would give them better skills to hone at a later age. When should players specialise? What age do you think they should specialise?
Well, for me, I'm looking like from you're looking at what key stage four is it? So you're looking at year nine. Um,
That's
you
about
know
14, is it?
that's
Like 14
that's
years
the
old.
last kind of stage of development where they're hitting that last part of puberty. So
That's like
they're then coming into the full size, the muscles and the bones are growing, and that's where if they've done things beforehand, their body should be able to adapt to those development needs. And there you go. And if you look at the system, typically with you take football for instance, there's a lot of players that have made it in football that got picked up at the age of 13, 14. They weren't in academies from 6 or 7 years old. They were playing in the park. Look at players like Maitland Niles or Zaha. They were playing in the park with their mates up until the age of 14. So take Wayne Rooney for example. Like he was very well documented that he was playing academy football from a young age, but he was also playing for his school team, playing with his mates, developing different facets to his games. Because obviously at an academy level, you're looking at being competitive. You're competing. You're constantly analysed. Whereas you look at school level, like what we do, well, what I'm doing at the moment, or even grassroots, and you're playing in the park, you're not scrutinised. You can try things. You can learn from your mistakes. And I think that's what needs to kind of be considered when you're talking about a young athlete up until you do look at specialization, where you're going 14, 15, okay, which is your sport, what you're gonna go into.
Do you think players should? You mentioned earlier on that you like to show players different things in terms of positioning. Similarly, if and when should players specialise in a position? Sit the forward,
Okay.
bring a goalkeeper, for example.
Okay, so again, if you're looking like I was talking about position on the pitch, so positional awareness it's more tactical, lines of play. So for example, in basketball, if I'm stood facing mid court, if I receive that ball in the pocket, can I get a shot off? No, because I would then have to turn. So it's all about your position. So that's where I would use different sports to kind of highlight the importance of body position. So in football, we like to coach receiving on your back foot. So if you're a defender, you're kind of facing play, so you're always facing forward. If you're a midfielder, you're then on the side, aren't you? And then same as a striker, you've got both of those aspects. You're playing forward, maybe to a through ball, but then you're also could be receiving on the side into feet. So you want that first touch to get to goal, and your second touch could be a shot or freezing the defender. Um, when you talk about sport specific positions, um, again, that's something I like. Even up until the age of 18, it's trial and error. So you put in for me, I put the athletes into different positions just to try and develop their game. So for example, for football, even if it's a goalkeeper and they're a very good goalkeeper, play them out. Play them out of field, especially if you look at the way football has moved on now. a lot of the goalkeepers, a lot of the time spent with the ball at their feet. So why are we putting them on the goal line if they're going to be required to come out and maybe sweep up behind the defenders, use their right and left foot, as well as your outfield players can. Um, so with me, with my work at West Ham FutAcademy, I would have my players out in my normal sessions. Only then would we go into maybe plays like final third or things like that. Would then I have the goalkeeper off to the side, maybe doing something with the goalkeeping coach, or they'd be included then as the goalkeeper. So maybe the start of play actually comes from them, so they initiate the start of play, or maybe it's okay. It's a final third, so they're attacking. If the goalkeeper can get that ball, can he then play out to the defenders? So you're working on different aspects, all in the same training session. And that's how I kind of try to look at it. Again, researching Ajax, they do the position triangle, so the right back might play centre back and also right midfielder. So they have these experiences in 3 different positions throughout the course of the season.
That ties into your positional awareness thing that we were talking about before.
Exactly, and that's the thing is if you put a player in a specific position from the age of 7, are they going to be able to develop different aspects to the game that they haven't been able to see because you haven't put them in that position? And the answer is no. So if you play as a winger and you're told always to be on the chalk, a wide winger, are you ever going to be able to then move into the middle of the pitch where it's going to require a different aspect of you? And that's not going to be the case. So, like I said, I'll do that all the way up until the varsity age with the 18-year-olds. Put different stresses on them. If they're finding something easy, give them something hard. Give them a challenge. You don't necessarily have to tell them what the challenge is or give them a specific word. Just a simple change of position, or and you can reap the benefits of it as a coach, but also as a player. So it's one of those. I do like to toy with it. I like to play with the players, and put them in stressful situations and see how they get out of it. So yeah, taking every opportunity to learn.